Shellie Galindo with New Gen Home Lending, and I am here with my broker today. We're going to ask her a few questions and see how she got into the industry, what motivates her and keeps her going after how many years?
A long time. Since 1999, I guess. How many years is that? 25, I think? Or 20?
Yeah.
25, yeah.
Her name is Veronica Medina, so let's get to the questions.
We have a few questions. I'm in the hot seat today.
She is in the hot seat. Let's start with, how do you handle difficult clients or situations where a loan approval process isn't going smoothly?
How I handle is just being transparent and upfront, just letting them know what the issue, any issue that came up, whether it was anybody's, it could have been an oversight on our part or on their part because they didn't disclose something. And just be transparent. If there's a solution to the problem, I said, okay, this happened and this is how we're gonna fix it. And same thing with like real estate agents. Real estate agents don't want to know about the problem, they just want to know how you're going to fix it.
Yes.
So basically it's just being upfront, picking up the phone, not being afraid to take the bulls by the horn and just letting them know, hey, this happened, and if it was my fault, I'll be the first one to fess up. I feel like people have more respect for you if you fess up and say, if it's something that it was my mistake. Now if it was the client's mistake, of course I'll let them know, hey, this wasn't disclosed to us, and let's powwow, let's see how we can fix it if there's a solution. So that's how I approach it, just being transparent 100%.
Yeah. I think real estate agents appreciate you answering your phone. This is the problem, and here's the solution.
Yeah.
And this is how much time it's going to add to escrow, if any. In a perfect loan process scenario, things should happen this way, and we should be done in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But give me 2.5, on that extension that you're going to create for everybody. Just setting that expectation.
Yeah, setting expectations if something happens. Because, it's real estate. Not all transactions go smoothly. Some transactions will have, like, little bumps here and there. And some might have, like, huge issues. But as long as they have a solution, then that's good. But if it's something that we hit a brick wall where we can't absolutely do nothing about it, then we also let everybody know.
Yeah,
that,
the sooner the better.
The sooner, yeah. A good thing about being a broker is, like if we do have an issue and let's say we are dealing with a lender or an underwriter that's probably not, seeing, I'm not seeing eye to eye, then I say, okay, this is how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to have to get the file, rework it, send it to another lender, and this is how we're gonna fix it. If there's a solution.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what I love about being a broker. So if you have a solution, provide that solution. Let them know. If it's an absolute no, then that way everybody can go about their way. But it rarely happens. We don't like to be in that situation, but when it does happen, it's good to just
have other options and restructure that thing. Okay, the next question. Can you share a moment of failure or setback in your career and how you managed to overcome it?
I guess it was the big crash from last time.
2008?
Yeah,
Okay.
And even this market right now that we're in, it's been very challenging. Yeah, well, 22. For me, it started at the end of 22. It started changing for me personally. But like 2008, I wanted to get out of the industry, and I'm like, no. I was like looking at my options. Like, no. This industry, like you said earlier, you get what you put into it. So you just have to work harder when things change. It's not always. It's easy to be a great loan officer when things are great, when the party's going. But when it's getting tough, you just have to keep pushing through. Like I've been on social media, even though I don't really like doing videos. I make myself vulnerable and put myself out there just so that people know, hey, I'm still active. I'm still doing loans.
Yeah.
And actually, in 2022, I decided to open up my own mortgage company. So that's kind of like, it's weird how that happened with this market changing, but for other people might think, oh, you're crazy. But I was already doing things on my own. So I figured, let's just see what happens.
I'm already working.
I'm already working 100% on my own. Yeah. So, and And like this time, I feel like something funny happened. I just feel like we grew organically because I started, like you were one of the first ones that joined me.
Yeah. Like, I need out of here. I need to come.
So yeah, it's kind of nice because now I have other loan officers that I can powwow. Like, I don't feel like, we have that little group text going. So that's a nice thing for me recently.
I think it happened at a good pace. Everything happens for a reason, and it all just happened the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
It feels like it. So this is under leadership and legacy. What kind of legacy do you hope to leave in the mortgage industry?
I guess my legacy would be to always do the right thing. When people talk about me, in the past tense, to say, that I always try to do the right thing by my clients. For other loan officers and even co-workers that I work with, I always want to leave that impression that I'm a hard worker, and I'm gonna, if you're on my team, I'm gonna support you 100%, and I'm gonna, I don't want to gatekeep. If I know something, I'll share it. I like, that's how I think. I don't like to have that mentality like, I know this, I'm not gonna share it. So I want to be remembered as somebody that can probably be a good mentor and a good co-worker, an employee at one point, when I worked at another company. So just, and a loan officer that always did the right thing by her clients.
Yeah. So, and I think you do that really well. You keep us informed as a broker of what's going on, or you have that experience to see files a little bit different, those extra fresh eyes that we need sometimes.
Yeah, it's just the fact of doing over the years, you've seen so many things.
Yes.
And it's nice to, for me, like I said, when I started this company, I was just doing a solo thing, and I'm like, it's kind of cool because even yesterday I called Carrie and I had a question. I figured it out on my own because I like to go and dig on my guidelines. But it's nice to have other loan officers too, because we all have different things that we can bring to the table.
Yeah, we all have our own experiences to see things different. Okay, so the next question is, how do you lead or mentor others in your field, whether it's new loan officers or even your clients? How do you lead or mentor others in your field?
Oh, going back to kind of tying it in with the other question, I think, like I said, just not gatekeeping, just being open. Like if I know something, like, hey, I ran into this scenario recently and this is how, I approached it, how I fixed it. Or if, hey, this is what's going on.
How are you reading this?
Yeah, how are you interpreting?
This is how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, and it's true because even when I remember I had an email at the other brokerage that I work at, we had a group email, and some people were like, no, that's not how I'm interpreting. And I even asked my daughter is my processor, and I said, hey, am I reading this wrong? She's like, no, you're reading it right. Or she'll say, no, you're reading it wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, you're interpreting it wrong, okay? Because sometimes I want to it's in my favor, and I'm like, no. So I always it's, just run it by somebody else, whether it be in our group or even outside with another.
I was just going to say that. It's good to be on the broker side and have 11 different, lenders. But then with those lenders comes the account executives who get, I don't even know how many questions these days. But they can always reassure us, yes, this is it. And I usually look up a guideline, and then I'll ask you and the group and then the account executives as well. So it's just okay, I can stand on this.
Yeah, and I same thing. I love to look up guidelines. I don't know. I just go. I look them up because then when you're in there, you're also like, oh shoot, I've forgotten about this.
Yes,
you're refreshing your mind. So it's always good to. That's part of our jobs, to be always looking at guidelines. Because I think I was telling Marty the other day. It's like, well, once you think you know something, you really don't, because then they changed it. They changed that guideline. Like, oh, that was back in 2021. This guideline used to be this way. Then they changed it, and now they changed it back. I think we were talking about a guideline recently with Freddie Mac. They changed it back for the rental. So,
even assets, they're just always changing everything.
So, yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
All right. So something I'm curious to know is, how did you get into the mortgage industry? I feel like we all just kind of fell into it. It's not like we're going to high school and college and, we're figuring out, I want to be a loan officer. It's just something I feel personally, you just kind of fall into. It's what you're supposed to do.
I think so.
How did you get into it?
Either someone that, and I feel like everybody in the industry, I look around and so-and-so is the daughter of so-and-so or the sister, right? I didn't have that. I didn't have the sister, but it's funny because I used to I didn't work at the church. I helped this lady at the church and coordinate weddings. Okay. I used to go to First Assemblies of God, and oh my gosh, her last name is Roper, Suzanne Roper, and it's funny because I was a single mom. I was really, really young. I had two little ones, and I guess I don't know, maybe God put it in her heart, share, say, hey, what are you doing this summer? And I was taking some classes, and I think I told her I was done, and she said that her husband was the president of a local bank, and that they wanted to offer me, he wanted to offer me a job. And of course, I think, so I went for the formal interview, and that's how I got in there. And of course, I wasn't making that much money back then. So when they offered me a salary, I was like tickle happy. It's like, yes, I'll take it. I got kids, insurance. I'm like, and then I mean, you're pretty much getting paid to learn. Yes. That didn't last very long because they closed that real estate section, and then I went to work in subprime for a year, which back then I absolutely hated. I didn't even know what I was doing half the time because I was new. Yeah. And subprime was not my cup of tea. Even though I was not that experienced, I know it didn't go with who I am. Okay. I just didn't like it. So then I moved to a local, more regional direct lender, and I was there for a long time, like 17 years. So which it was a good company. But then in 2018, I decided to transition to being a broker because I was losing clients to the broker side. Yes. And the broker had not exploded because before the crash, everybody blamed the brokers. Yes. So then when I would talk to another person that, I looked up to, they always vilified the broker side. Yeah. So I was like, I didn't trust the broker side. But then when I saw I was losing clients, or sometimes I would refer them myself
to the broker side.
Yeah. And I told the wife of the broker that I used to work at, she joked around. She's like, "Oh, you should just move over here." And so that's how I got that little idea going. In 2018, I joined the other brokerage where I was, and they've been around for a long time. So I was there. I was happy there. But like I said, when the industry started shifting in 2022, I got the ideas. I already had my little office set up. I had everything going. I go, you know what? I'm going to try this on my own and see what happens. I mean, the worst that can happen, if something doesn't work out, you just go back to, So at least, you get that out of your system. And that was exactly 2 years ago this September. Wow. So that's how I got into... And, that's how I evolved as a loan officer. Okay. Yeah. That is so cool. Yeah. So it was nice how, like you said, I fell into it. I mean, it's not like I was thinking, I'm going to be a loan officer when I grow up.
You're not 5 years old. Like,
but it's been a blessing.
One day. Yeah. I'm going to help people buy houses. But yeah,
it's been a blessing. So, I mean, for me personally, like even though, like I said, back then it was a little harder because... you did spend more time. I spent a lot of time at the office. I used to work a lot of weekends, but it's been good.
I think the hardness is just like traded off to something different. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, I get to work from home in my home office. I meet clients, at our physical office, but not having the people around, I think the community of the other loan officers, like, okay, that lacks a little bit. So then I got to get into the office. So I think it's give and take all over the place, but that's a really cool story.
I think a lot of people nowadays don't go, even like I've talked to other friends and they don't go into the office as much. So because everything is online. But yeah, if there's clients, I always offer clients if they want to meet in person, and some do, and some like, no, just send me the link. Yep. So, I mean, I kind of miss the interaction sometimes with the clients, if the face-to-face, but some clients really love to do everything online. So like you said, just do the Zoom call.
Yeah, that's the joy of it right now.
Yeah, but
that current industry we're in.
So yeah, that's my backstory of how I got into mortgages.
Cool. Very cool story.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it for us today. Thank you, Veronica, for your time and answering our questions. Get to know your broker a little bit more and your loan officers.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.